Mr. Nandu Surendran. Welcome to this live session with our students and IIC members and other faculty of the university who are listening, who are watching you live right now. And I congratulate you also for this wonderful achievement. And we are really proud of you, both of you. And you have made us very proud, entire university, that you have made it in the finalist of the National Innovation Contest, where more than 29,000 applications were received. Out of those, 2 are from IGNOU, and you are one of them. So I congratulate you from my core of my heart. Thank you very much for joining us. And Nandu, I think you are BSc student of IGNOU.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you are BSc student of IGNOU, and you are doing your innovation also in the field of science and technology.
Yes,
I will request you to kindly share in brief about your innovation. What is that, and how you thought of that? What was the problem you wanted to address through your innovation?
Sure, sir. So my product name is called OncoSense. So OncoSense is an MRI Contrast Media. So simply speaking, that's a kind of a drug that you inject before taking an MRI scan. So how it works is, it's for cancer theranostics or diagnosis. So how it works is before taking an MRI, before 20 minutes before the MRI is taken, you have to inject this media. And if you take a whole body MRI, so because if you don't know whether you have cancer or not, and what size tumors you have, whether your cancer is in an advanced stage, it's in metastasis. So these all things, it's actually a one solution for all these questions. So before 20 minutes, you have to inject the solution and wait for 20 minutes and take a whole body MRI. And if you have the cancer type is called adenocarcinoma, that's the cancer that we can diagnose, not almost all kind of cancer. So that will be visible on the MRI image. So the magnetic resonance image, you will see the tumors. So that's our innovation. So problem is, as I said, in India, most of the cancers are preventable. So I actually was in a clinical background. So I was studying my BDA. So I see lots of oral cancer patients. Most of them will be in their, we call it erythroplakia. That is a white patch, red patches, not leukoplakia. So that is actually a prior stage to the cancer. But even if we advise the guys to do, further screening and all that, nobody will do that. So similarly, most of the cancer in India can be prevented, at an early stage. We can prevent the death at least. So I was thinking about an accessible solution, because there are multiple solutions in developed countries, proton imaging and all these kind of things, but it's not accessible in India. So the most advanced technology we have in India is surely the MRI imaging. So I decided to work on that. So because I'm from a clinical background, I didn't have any expertise in this, as Kailash told, in the technical development. So this requires multiple streams, not just one stream. It requires nanotechnology.
New technique of cancer detection basically you are developing.
Yes, sir.
So far we have been using MRI for that purpose, and you are giving some solution as an alternative to MRI.
So MRI is not widely used for cancer diagnosis. MRI is used for certain type of cancers, like the brain cancers. So normally the only image source is either CT or MRI. Also MRI used for lobular carcinomas, like not ductal carcinomas. So lobular carcinomas are not visible in a mammogram. Mammogram is just an X-ray. It's a low dose X-ray. So MRI is not widely used even in India or across the world, because MRI cannot show this kind of the tumors that is present in the organs, like in pancreas, ovary. So because MRI doesn't have any radiation, it doesn't have that side effects of CT or X-ray. So I decided to make MRI the one-stop imaging solution, cutting short the CT, cutting short the proton imaging, these X-rays, So that was the idea. So we can cut the radiation amount, because for cancer patients Nandu, there should be multiple.
Mr. Nandu, how can you say that this technique which you have thought of or you have developed prototype is really innovative? How can you say that it is innovative, and then what are those innovative features of your this solution on the
yeah.
basis of which you have been selected for the National Innovation Contest?
Sure, sir. So innovation is like, as I said, it's a targeted MRI contrast media. So currently there are no targeted MRI contrast media available for, especially for cancer. For there are certain type of targeted cancers, like for liver problems, there is a targeted MRI contrast media. Also lymph node carcinomas, it's actually very rare cancer. For that also there are targeted MRI contrast media. But for these kind of adenocarcinomas, solid tumors, there are no solution nowhere in the world, not just in India. There are no solution over all over the world. So that's actually, this product is a one of a kind. So yeah, that's the innovation. So this is a one of a kind product.
If suppose your innovation is successful and it is widely used, then how it will be useful for the society? Because for any innovation to be real innovative and successful, it should be widely useful for the society and the people. Sure. Then can you say something about this?
Sure, sir. So if I talk about the immediate beneficiaries, the immediate beneficiaries will be the patients who can access all this kind of MRI imaging. So initially we cannot provide it like in a low cost. So initially it won't be a social innovation. To be honest, it will be purely commercial. But also speaking commercially, like, for lung cancer, non-small cell lung cancer, it's very, very widely common in India. Like most of the Indians are, at the age of 18 plus do smokes. So lung cancer is widely available, but there is no early diagnosis for lung cancer. So a patient will, be diagnosed with lung cancer at stage 4, when the cancer metastasizes and the symptoms are visible. So this solution, if someone is a chronic smoker or someone is working in asbestos factories or factories that can have this kind of carcinogens, at some point of time they can go to a hospital and do an MRI. So cancer develops slowly because we can identify the cancer at under 5 millimeter. To be honest, we can identify up to 3 millimeters of tumors. So these 3 millimeter tumor will take 2 or 3 years to develop into a very potent cancer. So that kind of early diagnosis will be there, and there is currently no solution. So currently the diagnosis for lung cancer is low dose CT, low dose computer tomography, and that's also done in only super specialty hospitals, because the patients will be aware of these kind of things, and he will openly say to the doctor, I am a chronic smoker, I want to do some testing for lung cancer and all that. Then only you can diagnose a lung cancer. But so as I said, this can be included in a regular checkup, body checkup, because MRI doesn't have a radiation. For prescribing CT, there should be some findings that you suspect, the patient will be having, because CT is a radiation. So that at that point of time, we can diagnose this lung cancer, ovarian cancer, even pancreatic cancer at an early stage. So currently there is no early diagnostic solution for all these kind of cancers.
So it means your product will be can be used at earliest detection of the cancer. Yes, sir. That's the unique feature of your size, yes. Unique feature of your innovative product. That's it. So I think if it is developed fully, then will be a revolution in the field of cancer detection.
It will be kind of a revolutionary.
It's a very good thing. Mr. Nandu, we would like to know because you conceived an idea like this was the problem you thought of. That cancer is detected at the very later is by that time it becomes very critical. So you thought of devising some method or technology which can help in early detection of the cancer. That's a fine thing. But now from that idea to the level where you are now, we would like to see what are the different stages that you have crossed. And what were the different challenges which you also faced, like Mr. Kailash? So because for all innovators, the journey is almost same. Challenges may be different. What kind of challenges you faced? What are those different stages that we would be happy to know from you?
Yes, sir. So there was a tremendous amount of challenge because, so I got this idea on 2015, so mid 2015, when I was attending an oral medicine and radiology class. So OMR, we call it in a short name. So they talk about all this kind of diagnosis, early diagnosis, these kind of things. So I found that, for many kind of diseases, we have developed early diagnosis. So Corona came, we developed vaccines. within a short period of time, right? But while cancer is there in from the Neanderthals. So to be honest, if you read a book, so it mentions like the earliest evidence of cancer is found on the Neanderthals, a skeletal system called Lucy. So they have this kind of, lymphoblastoma. So cancer was there so you can also find the story of Atossa. Atossa is a Persian queen. She has a breast cancer. So it's believed that the first mastectomy was performed in about 500 BC. So cancer was still there, but at this time we are not talking about early diagnosis. We are working hard for the treatment. But the treatment for any disease, treatment can only be effective if you treat at an early stage. Whatever disease, if it's an infection, there is no point of treating a patient before septic shock, right? So a small infection can lead to septic shock and death of the patient. So any disease treated at a late stage won't even, I am very junior. I was very junior at that time. So I need some professors who are into cancer things. So I discussed with my professor at the college. They connected me to regional cancer center at Trivandrum. That's a government-run cancer hospital. So from there, they connected to the pathology department. In pathology department, there were many scientists. So I discussed with them all these kind of things. So the idea took about 2 years to develop into a prototype, even in an idea stage, because it was a rough idea. I just want to do something to diagnose this cancer early, and I want to use MRI. So this was the whole idea I had. I want to use the MRI, and I want to use a targeted agent. So that took me 2 years to develop into at least a prototype worth solution and all these kind of things. So from there, so in 2016, so I finalized the plan for the product. What product should be there? Then so I consulted with my friends. So when I was doing videos, my friends were doing engineering and all that. So I found Archana. So she was in SRM University doing MTech in nanotechnology. So she was into also this cancer related field, but she was an engineer. She had no idea about life sciences or medicine. So she discussed this with me, and she said that I have this nanoparticle project, and I don't know how clinically it will be viable. So we discussed about it, and we found out that this is the solution. So I need an MRI agent, and she had that, and she doesn't know what to do with it. So we conjugated these nanoparticles, which was her MTech project, and made it into a viable, cancer diagnosis solution. For that, I also asked help from University of Kerala Center in Trivandrum. So there was this peptide biochemistry department. So a department precisely related to peptide biochemistry. So we discussed with them, and they had a peptide that can target these cancer cells at an early stage, but they don't have a delivery vehicle for the peptide, right? So we have this nanoparticle, which is an iron oxide base, because it is magnetic. It will be visible on MRI, and they have a peptide that they cannot deliver, because peptide is very hard to deliver intravenously and all that. So this is kind of this come together. To be honest, it's like Paulo Coelho's quote: if you want something that bad, the whole universe will conspire to make it happen. So that's how it happened. So we registered the company in 2017, October 5th, 2017. So that was the process. From 2015, it took about 3 years to make it into a viable business solution. In 2020, we formed the company, and in 2018, we got incubated in IIM Calicut, as well as Rajiv Gandhi Center for Biotechnology, which is actually a biotechnology institute located it's a premier institute, one of the oldest biotechnology research centers in all of India. So they helped us to synthesize this prototype. They gave us their access to their labs. So they have this BSL-3 lab where they have lots of equipment. So using their lab, we synthesized the initial prototype. After initial synthesis in the prototype, we also carried out the cell line research in there, and we applied for a patent in December 2018. So patent was filed. Then before that, yes, one more thing, we got the initial funding in 2018 itself. It was from Mangalore Refinery and Petrochemicals Limited. So that was a not an ideal funding source, because they are a petroleum company. So they are usually funded petroleum startups, but because hearing our idea and seeing our pitch, they decided to fund us. So funding was done on 2017, mid 2000, not 2018, mid 2018. Then the funds followed. Then we got the funding from Kerala Startup Mission, the productization grant. Then catalyst grant from IIT Mandi followed. So the funding source was there. So the only problem was synthesize the prototype. So the prototype synthesizing was a hard part because nothing was going as planned. It's pure technical. There is no point explaining these technical terms. Like in cell line studies there were difficulties, so we have to consult CCAM, Bangalore-based incubator. We also have to consult multiple researchers, doctors. So at least we have consulted about 50 plus scientists for making it into a prototype because that much challenge was there. So after that, thankfully, luckily the prototype was ready, and we also tested in mice. So MRI was taken. So the final testing was in nude mice. So in nude mice, there we call it xenograph. There is a cancer cell, and we have to take an MRI of the mice. It's similarly taking an MRI of the human. We just take an MRI of the mice, and in that MRI, the cancer cell, which was in an early stage, as I said, very, very, very small in size, was visible. So then, we decided that the solution, at least in preclinical setting, was successful. So the preclinical trials are progressing. Almost it's complete.
I think you have registered your company also.
Yes, sir.
For that. And one thing I conclude from your infer from your this process explanation, that if your idea is excellent, idea is workable, then you will not get much problem in funding and in support.
No, sir. To be honest, the funding part was the one that we were most scared of, because we know this requires a huge amount of funding. Till now, it's actually the expense was very huge comparing to other startups. So the funding, it came as because the idea was good. We were working on the idea. So I was spending all the money from my hands before I started the company, and I was traveling across the country, like from Delhi, Chennai, IIT Madras, CCAM Bangalore, Hyderabad Bio Incubation Center. So I was traveling around with my own money. So my parents were scared. Everyone was scared because I was spending like nothing, and nothing is happening. But as the quote in the alchemist says, if you want something so bad, it will happen. It will just happen. The funding came.
What is the status of your patent that you have filed?
The patent is actually under review. So we also have filed a review for expedited review application. So it's under the review. So we hope to the patent to be granted within couple of months if the lockdown is not there. So it should already be granted by now, but it's taking so much of time.
Has IGNO helped you in some way in this whole journey?
Sure, sir. So I was not aware of this MIC's National Innovation Contest at all. And I was not aware of all this kind of academic level of support that you can get. So earlier I was thinking funding was easy part, but getting into this kind of academic scientists and taking their knowledge and asking them for help was the most critical thing and most hard to do thing, because funding came from the sources that we never expected to, like the petroleum company MRPL. So then I get in touch with IGNO. So there was like you sir and Maunida ma'am, everyone, you all are academicians and you were just supporting us and you were asking us to apply for these NICs. So because I was not aware of this kind of academic at college level contest, because I was purely into this kind of business innovations and pitching to venture capitalists and all these kind of things. But now now I have also this academic support that I never had before.
While reviewing your proposal, we came to know that really it is having very bright future for your innovation that we could see, and that's why we had recommended for the NIC also, and fortunately it has been selected. And I don't know what is the meaning of that, but in the list of that NIC list, you are in the top.
Yes,
number one in that.
I also noticed
so
that.
I think your innovation must have been very important for those experts also, those who have reviewed that NIC applications at the national level, National Innovation Contest applications. And hopefully there also you are likely to get some funding to take your idea, to take your prototype further. And in that context, I would like to know what kind of support or guidance you would like to have from IGNOU further in this entire endeavor. That I think that will help us in designing our future activities and planning for the students like you.
So the thing is, as I said, sir, the clinical trials is a huge challenge. It's kind of a critical challenge. If something goes wrong in clinical trials, because we are a startup, there is no point of reviving the product. Like in some stages, the efficacy is not there, or the patient suddenly develops a side effects. The entire thing is gone. So the clinical trial team is kind of a very big team. So there will be multiple doctors, multiple scientists. So if we hire some CRO, contract research organization, the cost for doing a clinic, they will do everything. Like from basically recruiting the patient to concluding the clinical trials, the CROs will do. That's their business, contract research organizations. And we have also contacted Jubilant Life Sciences like CROs, but the cost for a clinical trials is unthinkable. It's above 5 crores of Indian rupees. So if we are able to do it ourselves, we can have support in this from the hospitals like regional cancer centers and all that. But we need this kind of scientist, at least, so we need a emergency physician. So physician also requires multiple. Emergency physician should be there, oncologist should be there, this anesthesia, multiple patients, because the patient should be monitored regularly. So that I can handle, but the scientists who have experience in planning the clinical trials. So the planning the clinical trials is the most important thing. There are multiple ways you can do a clinical trials, and the planning is the most important. So the entire trial progress according to the planning. So the planning of the clinical trials requires lots of inputs from scientists, from academicians, from doctors, clinicians, everyone. So for that, if we have support of IGNOU, because IGNOU is a very huge organization, huge academy. You have doctors, you have PG courses for doctors as well, MBBS doctors. So you have this kind of, expertise, you have that kind of academic experience, these kind of experts with you. So I would like to get connected to someone who are into this kind of, clinical research field. So that
certainly we would be happy to help you in that context. But you kindly tell us what are those agencies or the organization, industries,
yes.
or
so
even
that I have to mail you. So I will send an email once the
there we would like to take up your project with them,
sure.
And we will try to connect you with them, and then because your idea is wonderful and it can be very helpful in I can say in revolutionizing the entire cancer detection industry.
Yes.
If your idea is taken up by some industry or some such kind of organization, like I think b-aegis has been providing some funding for the innovation. And
yes, sir.
Department
so
of Biotechnology, you suggest us what are those different organizations. We will try to connect you with them. Now, because you are very committed, dedicated innovator that we have seen in you, based on your experience and whatever you have done, a number of students from IGNOU, they are watching you. What would you like to guide them, suggest them to be an innovator and to take their idea to the next level, or even into the startup or entrepreneurship? That will be good for all of us.
Yeah, so having an idea is a great thing. I think most of the idea, if not all, is fascinating, because ideas are always fascinating, interesting, and but making the idea into a product, to be honest, not prototype, but a product, requires a huge amount of dedication. So one thing, you have to be relentless. You don't have to rest or anything. You have to be relentless. Then you have to be shameless, to be honest, because you have to push your idea to everyone. Even if they are not interested, you have to push. Then only you can get some feedback, both positives and negatives. So I think an entrepreneur should be kind of shameless, to be honest, because most of the time you will get rejected. Most of the time they will just act like they don't care. So you have to be relentless, you have to be shameless, and you have to always learn from your mistakes. In the journey, you will be making a lots of mistakes. Like you will be bitching to the wrong investors, and you will be hiring the long scientist for work with you. You will be just recruiting someone who doesn't have any idea of this product and all this kind of thing. So that kind of thing will there. And you, first of all, you won't have any know-how that how to utilize the fund you have. So initial funding will be waste, because you will be spending for buying some equipments, fancy equipments, but that the same equipments will be there somewhere. You can just hire it or just use it in that laboratory. So that is there. So you will learn, you will learn throughout the process. So I cannot say that this is the way. You will learn yourself. If you are dedicated, you are relentless, you will learn throughout your path of entrepreneurship, and that it won't be an easy journey. Because for me, like, I had to travel in, local compartments of the train and sit in the toilet seats, because it's the local compartment is really crowded. And I also happened to travel in business class. So once I got this international invitation, so the ticket are sponsored by those institutions. So they will give you a business class ticket. So that kind of thing is there. You have to be, down to earth to traveling in a business class, staying in a 5-star luxury hotel. These kind of things will be there. So I also have, attended events with dignitaries. So there was an event called Indo-French Knowledge Summit. So I was with this CEO of Dassault Aviation. So the director of I think NASDAQ. Also, one advisor to the BIRAC itself. So these kind of very high profile guys was there. I was also there sharing their, kind of stage and all this kind of thing. So that will be there, and you will be like down to, traveling in a near hospital. I mean, near the toilet seat of a local compartment train. So that you should be open. Everyone has to teach you something from the basic, person you meet. So be social, be interactive. Be open to learning. So as an entrepreneur, you will be keen to speak. You will be pushing your idea all the time, but also be sure to hear everyone. So everyone has to teach you something. So the learning is most important thing of an entrepreneur. The entrepreneur who cannot learn cannot be successful, to be honest. So it's always a learning process. You have to learn from everything, from the mistakes you have made, from how to utilize the funds, so who to hire, so that you can learn throughout the process. And it won't be easy and it won't be fast. So in my case, the idea started in 2015, and I'm nowhere near to the productization of the idea, right?
Continue improving your idea and the product. These all things are very important. And most important thing, you said that one should be open-minded, open to all kind of suggestions and ideas. And out of those, whatever is good for you, take it in and improve your idea further, innovation further. So this is a very important lesson that you have given to our students. I think I should thank you.